Hello, World of Tank Blitzers. It's Littlefinger. It is Friday, October 18th, and I'm going to do a quick store review. We've got a new event. I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I'll do a separate video, but I just wanted to point out that there is a Tier 7 heavy tank in here. It is at level 20. It's called the Lightbringer here. Looks kind of interesting. Tier 7 heavy tank. But you do have to pay in order to start opening up each of these levels, and I'll go into that a little bit later. But let's go ahead and look in the store. There is a free gift right here. I want everyone obviously to take advantage of. One of the interesting things here, and I'm going to just do this real quick because I'm not sure what this is going to get, but from previous events, you should have collected 2 soul crystals. This is going to give you that 3rd soul crystal. So if we back out of the store here, or let me see if it'll let me do it here. Let's go ahead and claim this. It's going to give a certificate for a soul crystal. Yeah, and it's only worth 1,000 free XP. So yeah, that really, doesn't really do much. Okay, I thought that was going to be a little bit more exciting than it was. All right, so let's see. The event booster pass I will talk about when I talk about the events here. We've claimed our free gift. I'm not going to talk about containers. Want you guys to kind of stay away from that. One of the things I do want to point out real quick is the Soul Eater. Yeah, I've dropped 50 bucks on the game today, and I'll go through all of the containers that I opened in a separate video. But as you can see, I did end up getting the Soul Eater. It took me almost all of the 30 required charms in order to get this tank. But nonetheless, I am really interested in trying this thing. It looks like a very big tank destroyer, pretty accurate gun. Very interested in trying it. And again, I'll do a separate video on the draws that I did to get that. But what I wanted to point out with this is that there's 2 different types of certificates. The certificates that you get from this one here it looks like this. It's completely different. You can see this one's at 11 of 25. So just be aware, it's the same tank, but different certificates. Seems a bit confusing to me, and maybe might not have purchased as much as I did had I had known that ahead of time. Anyway, moving on, we've got all of these containers, the lockbox key. All right, where are the tanks at? We got anything worthy here? Bag Company 25 for 30. Wow. No, we're not even going to talk about that. It's just way too expensive to even think about talking. So let's jump into Iron Predators, which is going to be 13,500 gold. Does get you the camos, the 5x boosters, everything unlocked. The AMX 30. Tier 8 medium tank, just all around average, what you would expect from a French medium tank. It's got good mobility. It's got a nice accurate gun. You can see there at 0.3 dispersion, 280 average damage, 2,000 damage per minute. Quite nice for a tier 8. And 10 degrees of gun depression, 58 kilometers per hour. So just a nice all around medium tank. Nothing super special about it. It's not going to have any good armor really that, if you can get this obviously hold down, angled backwards, etc., you might get a few ricochets off of it. But the tank that really I like out of this is the Charlemagne. This is a British tank destroyer, but what I like about it is it's really going to get you to focus on that hesh, right? We see this a lot with the British tanks. Their premium ammunition, it drops down in pen, which is unusual, but it increases in average damage. So this tank will really teach you how to maximize your hesh, getting those pens to get that extra damage. So 470 damage there for a tier 8. This thing will start popping out some big numbers for you. So you can see, even without the hesh, it's 2,000 damage per minute, and that's a good almost 100 difference so for each shot. So keep that in mind. I've really enjoyed playing this tank. It did take me a good 5-10 battles to get comfortable with the hash and really understand when to use it. It does do okay hold down. It's not the best armor for a heavy tank. But the reason I wanted to point this out is it's a little bit, I think, a little bit kind of unique at tier 8. So keep that in mind for both of these tanks. Not a bad deal. You can see the by itself 8,500, sitting a little bit there on the high side for my liking. We've got two steel monsters here. The Vagen, which I enjoy playing this tank, as you can see. If you can get this in the right spots, hold down, this thing is just really a monster. The accuracy on the gun is actually pretty good. Dispersion at 100 meters, 0.27. So, you know, the downside is your speed there at 37 kilometers per hour, but 10 degrees of gun depression, getting this thing in the right spots. And you'll see people look at you and then they'll just aim at another target just because there's nothing that they can do to pen you from the front. But the flip side here is the Type 57 here. I'm not a fan of this tank. I've seen some people play it quite well. Obviously, it's got this body armor that we see quite a bit with the angle. So this going down gives you some effective armor into the front. And the thing I just don't like about it is the gun. We'll see that dispersion at 0.327, I would say. That doesn't feel that way to me when I play it. $24 there for that bundle. So if you're getting that at 650, that's 15,000. We divide that to 7,800. It's an okay deal, not a great deal. I talked about the courageous sixes here, so being not a bad deal. If you want more on this one, watch my video from last week on the store here. And one of the good things about this is the power cells that are going to help you with the tank for this quarter. But what I pointed out, Dicker Max is actually a surprisingly fast, mobile tank destroyer, good accurate gun, nice gun depression. Type 64, obviously a very highly mobile, light tank, no armor. Watch out for getting HE'd. The Churchill Mark 6, I'm not a fan of. It's just a little bit too slow. But the Cromwell B is just an absolute fun tank to play at tier 6 with its like 12 degrees of gun depression and really, really good mobility. It's almost a must own in my opinion at tier 6. WZ1115A, you know, I had a lot of people tell me that they really love this tank. And yeah, I'm not trying to say it's not a good tier 10 heavy tank. It's just the play style for me, it feels a bit boring, and I wouldn't drop 22,000 or 20,000 gold on it when there's, in my opinion, more exciting tanks to play out there. I'm not going to talk about the Char Future. I feel like the price is just too high right now. You know, it is just out, and I haven't played it a whole lot, but I don't think it's worth the super high price on it. So we've got the Vindicator and Predator, 30 days of premium time, almost 4,000 of the lanterns there, but you know, 15,000, that's 7,800 per tank. Yeah, you get two different camos for each one of these. The price is just here is just, in my opinion, it's just too high right now. I wouldn't recommend these at this price. But about the tanks, right? Predator sits really, really high. And that makes it difficult when you've got tanks very close up front to you. They actually had to increase the gun depression on it because it was almost unplayable the way they had it before. It is an auto loader, 3 shells, 1.5 seconds between shots. A little bit on the slow side, obviously, because of its big size there at 29 kilometers per hour is your top speed. Yeah, it's unique, it's different, but if you want to pick one of the two, I'd go with the Vindicator, just because of its derp gun, gives you some memes, some funny times with it. So 640 average damage there when you do get that nice shot to hit. Obviously the dispersion there at 0.39 is horrible. 4.8 aim time and 30 kilometers per hour is even slower. So just keep those in mind on those tanks right there. And I think we talked about the FCM and the SU-122. Not a bad price for these two tanks at all. FCM is a good all-around medium tank. It's got good speed, but as you can see, it is very, very big. So sometimes often hard to hide, but it's got a nice French gun accuracy on it. The .31 dispersion, 8 degrees of gun depression there, 3.5 aim time. 2,600 damage per minute, which is great for a tier 8. So you can get some big games out of this. It's also fun in all of the other modes where you can do some ramming and stuff with this, because it is such a big tank, 51 kilometers per hour top speed. So I do like the tank. The SU-122 is also kind of fun, but it is also a tier 7. So just keep that in mind as well. But the price, I think, is right there at 9,000 gold for both of those two tanks. And the K91, yeah, I'm 15,000 gold, not horrible, but that's a price just a little bit less than what you would pay for a tier 10. But again, with a 3-shot autoloader on this thing, there's some strange looking armor. You're gonna get some bounces. And like I said before, with those autoloaders, you really do surprisingly end up with some good damage numbers. 26 there straight up. So. Yeah, I mean, I like the tank. It's tier 9. It's that awkward tier. And so anyway, guys, that wraps up the store as quickly as I could. Hope you're having fun out there. Stay safe, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.